Earth. So it's 2015 and there were like 3 more world wars for some reason. I don't know how all of those fit in there and we haven't died yet, but okay. Weirdly enough, they were all observed and the winner was determined by a cat named Judd. I'm not even going to question why this cat can do this. As you'd probably expect, all this intercontinental fighting wasn't really good for the planet, so the professor, this guy, spread his message about how they were all destroying the planet and they were all going to die if they didn't change. Similarly to real life, no one really listened to him. So some jackasses tested some nukes in the Arctic and kinda melted the entire fucking continent, flooding the entire planet and killing everyone. In a last-ditch effort, the professor froze Judd in a capsule so he could survive and wake up once the flooding was over and made an AI that could pass down the knowledge of humans to the next dominant species. The capsule also had a feature to clone Judd so he would have companionship once he woke up in case there wasn't a new dominant species to protect him. But that really doesn't mean anything until the second game. So, a couple thousand years later, sea creatures, but mostly squids and octopi, are evolving to live on land and also everything else in the ocean. And I guess? But they're not important, they're just business owners. It's been about 12,000 years and we now have a species called the Inklings who can make and shoot ink as well as turn into a squid to swim through setting. Octolings also exist, but they're basically the same thing but octopus. Plus all these whatever the fucks. At this point, Inklings and Octarians are on pretty good terms, but the sea level starts rising again. For no reason, they never explain this, reducing the land in a war called the Great Turf War starts up for said land. It was a long battle, but Greg Cuttlefish and the weapons supplier Schellendorf managed to lead a team called the Squidbeak Splatoon to victory after a plug is pulled by accident. That might have been a metaphor, but in this world, it could definitely be very literal on the Octarian side, causing them to lose the war and get forced into worse and smaller living areas. 100 years later, society is model. Culture is mostly based around fashion, and Inklings around the age of 14 participate in a sport called Turf War, where they fight to cover turf in their color. I don't know why all this happens in random skate parks and private businesses and not arenas actually built for the sport, but okay. Also, Judd from earlier determines the winner. Your character shows up in the city to play Turf War. Suddenly, a news report starts getting broadcasted live from the Squid Sisters, who are pop stars / news anchors, and give a report about how the Great Zapfish, an electric catfish, and the city's main power supply, he has been stolen. How the fuck do you steal this thing? It's as big as a building. In the city, you can find Sheldon. He's the descendant of Schellendorf and supplies you your arsenal, but he's really not important until the next game. Like that whole thing with Judd and his clone. The player sees an old man peeking around out of the sewer. They should probably have called the police or something, since it's not typically a good thing when old men are looking at teenagers, but fuck that, time to follow him without your weapon race. So the player talks to Cuttlefish, who is somehow still alive, like he's at least 121 at this point, and he could definitely be older. He explains that the Octarians have been hiding for the past 100 years, waiting to strike and have stolen the Zapfish, and immediately recruits the player as Agent 3, the new Squidbeak platoon agent. He's the best secret agent, and that has to fight an entire army on their own is a 14-year-old with no experience who didn't think twice about following old men into sewers. Don't ask what happened to Agents 1 or 2. So, time to invade the kettles where the Octarians live. Okay, how the hell do you expect me to believe they live here? Not only is it extremely impractical, I don't think any of these kettles even have a place to take a shit. So Agent 3 goes off, fighting Octarians, completing levels, and fighting such intimidating bosses like a cube, a dude with allergies, and 2 Beyblades stacked on top of each other. After the 3rd boss, Cuttlefish gets captured because... Look at the dude, with how old he is, I think the average person could probably just freaking pick him up. I don't think he could even do anything about it. I mean, look at him. He's barely even standing up at this point. Wait, you're not dead? And if you're not dead, then why didn't Cuttlefish just call you to help? So Agents 1 and 2 are now helping you by still not doing anything to actually help you. Cuttlefish at least had the excuse that he was too old to do anything more complicated than breathing, but these guys are like 18 at most. They can fucking help. Yeah, vor fetish. Last area, final boss time. The leader of the Octarians, DJ Octavio. So it's time for a game of stop hitting yourself. We're nearing the end, time for some tunes.
1, 2, a hot man.
The music apparently frees your soul, and all the Octarians, or at least the Octolings, were brainwashed, but not for long. And oh yeah, Agents 1 and 2 are Callie and Marie, the news anchors. Welcome to Inkopolis 2, agent that everyone forgot about. Maybe you should have had a more original story mode. Judd is a clone now, and that clone is having an existential crisis. So here's the four-head gremlin Pearl and Marina, the one everyone wants to... Another set of pop star / news anchors. Wow, what a coincidence. So, the Zapfish is gone. Again. You think they would have put tighter security on it since the last time, but I guess not. Oh, hey, stranger! Okay, is this a cultural thing or something? Why do teenagers keep following people into the sewer? It's Agent 2, aka Marie. Octavio got out of the snow globe that we used as a cell for some reason. Agent 1, aka Callie, is missing, and both Agent 3 and Cuttlefish have been on a mission for months at this point and haven't come back. Go forward, stranger. I will not wait for confirmation of your acceptance of this role. Oh, this has to be the easiest job to get ever. I'm not even trained. Now don't worry, this is a completely different experience from the first story mode. The first boss isn't a cube, it's a toaster oven. The cube shows up later. So, first world down, Marie recruits Sheldon to give you weapons and upgrade the ones you have in exchange for giving him data from testing them in the field. So let's continue. Japan, Box 2, the sequel, Drain Plot. So Callie's working for the Octarians, allegedly. Let's keep going. Final boss time. So Callie was brainwashed and got a tattoo. Time to play Stop Hitting Yourself again. Marie flies in on a flying truck being piloted by Sheldon. Callie comes to concert time.
And we're launching.
Sheldon sends down a version of the Rainmaker so you can fight on the rails above. Bonk it on his head. He's recaptured and Callie's fine, all's well, and I guess there's also the thing with the salmon coming up every few hundred years and doing stuff. So people started stealing their fetuses, but that's not really important. Ignore the subway. Okay, I'm not suggesting anything, but we might want to do another background check on Cuttlefish, just to be safe. Agent 3 is who knows where, and Cuttlefish is even older at this point. Time for a truce. What do you get out of this? I don't know. Go walk on the train tracks. That's a great idea. So here's the telephone that is definitely not the AI from earlier who gives us a subway pass and a projector to complete challenges to get 4 things. And if you can get them, you can go back to the surface. Your name is 10,008. Let's just go with 8. You know, no wonder all these guys are just stuck here. These challenges are kind of built around Inklings and Octolings specifically. Pearl and Marina just so happened to find a walkie-talkie that Cuttlefish dropped 2 years ago, and it somehow still works even though it's been in the wilderness for years at this point. They will now join Cuttlefish in screaming at you during levels. Well, that was a challenging level. Oh, well, I failed. Well, I guess I'll just try again. They did something to actually help me. And they have an actual reason for why they can't just do it at the start. And are actually doing something to help me that's more than just telling me good job. So, time to beat up the same bosses as before. Fuck. So, 8 got the 4 things, and now it's freedom time, baby! Okay, do you really blame them, though? Guns look like garden hoses. Do you think a travel pod looking like a blender is too far off? Agent 3 breaks through the ceiling and destroys the blender because they feel like it. I don't think they're alive anymore. Just go on, the old man who needs a cane to even stand up will be fine. So 8 super jumps to the upper levels and works their way up to an elevator to the surface. Oh man, an elevator ride? I'm gonna completely ignore the fact that I should probably go back for 3 and Cuttlefish. Okay, where's the emergency call button? 3 was brainwashed by the telephone and now has only one goal. Kill you. Oh god, this will be so intense. Jesus, that fight was stupid easy and he had like unlimited specials. Okay, 3 has to have some form of brain damage at this point. Being knocked out is not healthy. Pearl and Marina show up with a helicopter for an escort. Why did they bring so many? That's crazy. Hey, what's over there? Fuck! Now, telephone over here is very eco-friendly and is using solar power to charge his death laser. Go paint the entire statue. That's better than just shooting him. It's only partially charged, but he still tries to fire it off, so Pearl counters the laser by screaming at it. Telephone dies, Agent 3 is somehow alive, and Octolings are finally leaving Octo Canyon to live in Inkopolis. So, final opinion on Octo expansion? Who would have guessed that Splatoon could have a good single?